Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, put your feet up. It's time for the Other Three Amigos podcast with Declan McCormack, Wayne Mullins, and Dan.
Three lads, one podcast.
On this week's episode of the Other Three Amigos podcast, Eileen makes a return, but she ends up getting quite agitated. Our underage teams take on a 10k. Matthew Collin joins in as merchandise manager. ToeTap sponsor our first stream. That doesn't work. We have all the reviews and previews, as well as heading to our mailbag. All of this and more on this week's episode of the Other Three Amigos podcast. Hello and welcome to the Other Three Amigos podcast, Season 4, Episode 34, Episode 210 in total. Your award-winning podcast. Of course, you have to slip that in there. A reminder, we are on Patreon. Patreon.com/ToeTap, where you can join us from €5 per month, or you can throw us a tenner if you want to get the same level of shit, but just helps us out a small bit more. Be sure to retweet, as it's so important to help the pod grow. Even the odd like helps here and there. The proud sponsor of Jack Doherty's boots are still sitting at €110 for Marymount. And I'll introduce my first amigo here, Decky.
Dan,
how are you? I mean, the unfortunate charity bet is no longer. We have to rely on the goals now for the rest of the season for the money from Marymount.
Yeah, look, I mean, we'll get into it later on, but yeah, it's disappointing that it's gone. I thought we'd get more of a run for our money, or my money. But look, it is what it is. It was 25-1 for a reason. It was probably unlikely to happen, but still, I think what's disappointing is that it just kind of petered out, to be honest. But as I said, we'll talk about it later on.
And I'll introduce our amiga here on the Other Three Amigos podcast. Eileen Ring. Wayne Mullins is on his annual leave once more. You're a bit of a late substitution. And a pissed off one, I'd say. Looking at that face.
I know. I thought I was on a free week from podcasts until I get a text at 4:00. What time are we on? I was like, we? Who's this we speak of? I have not seen Friday's match. But good evening. I was pissed off, but it's so much better for seeing your two beautiful faces.
By the way, shout out to the George O'Callaghan podcast is out. Decky, what was it like speaking with the great man?
Oh, lads, you've no idea. I had genuinely, it wasn't like everybody thinks my issues are internet issues, and they're generally not. Something went badly wrong with my hardware, and poor George was sitting around for an hour coming on, and I was getting cut off. He was back on, and he just laughed his way through it, to be fair to him, and he's like, the thing about George, I keep saying to people, I've known George years, like, he's such a nice guy. Like, there's all the bravado and I'm George O'Callaghan, and as you heard him say, there should be a statue of me in Cork and all this side of him, like, but underneath it, he's just such a genuinely nice guy. And yeah, it was a great chat. It's not out that long, but seemingly it's going down well already, and I know he's going to get some shit. I know where it's going to come from. It's going to come from Talca Park, and it's going to come from certain areas like that, and he'll just laugh it off and say, lads, I don't care, So George is George, But it was great chat.
You're talking to us through your mobile telecommunications device tonight. You're out what looks like dogging at the moment.
I knew that
would be proud.
I knew that was going to come up. Yeah, I was in Turner's Cross, and Wayne is away, obviously, so I'm using the app on the phone to connect to the studio and talk to you tonight. So yes, I am parked up in a car park outside a garage in Ballyphehane. No, there's no woods around, Dan. It's bright. There's people walking their dogs now as they walk past me. The rest
They're
of it.
dogging as well.
Man, you're obsessed with the whole dogging aspect, aren't you? It's
the best part of the spot.
Wait till you hear the video your man sent in later on the WhatsApp stuff, like. But anyway, yeah, I'm here in the car park, thoroughly enjoying my first 4 minutes with you on this Bank Holiday Monday night. And can I just say, Dan, it's now 10-8 on Bank Holiday Monday night. I've watched 2 90 minutes of Cork City in the last, should we say, 7 hours or so, 6.5 hours. That's no way to spend a bank holiday for any man. I can just say that much now, to be honest.
It's time to go to... It's
my
first time using the old DJ deck thing in here at Riverside tonight, so bear with us if it's an absolute shit show. The under-20s beat Limerick 4-0. Oran Crow Skeeters by 2, and Murray got the goals there. And that was actually it for the Academy games this weekend. But they did partake in a jog. Our under-17s and I believe under-15s teams were whipped around the streets of Cork. Eileen, you actually did this 10K as well, did you? Not for Cork City, like.
And I can confirm they were not jogging, they were sprinting, because I was on my way out Blackpool and they were flaking back in Blackpool. So look, they're obviously young, very fit lads, and I'd say they got around the course very well. Look, it's kind of a strange one, isn't it? Look, kind of hard. Like I stayed around after 10K, supported like the half and the full marathon, and like a lot of people raising money for really good causes, and I know people running the marathons and the 10K for really good charity causes, and like it's kind of hard then in the middle for people, because someone said to me, there's a load of Cork City people running, what are they running for? Are they not a professional football club? It's like, yeah, they are. So it's a bit of a strange one, I think, and I said there's a lot of very good causes and people running for really good charity causes and in honour of people and stuff like that, and for me I kind of thought it was a little bit strange, and a few people had said it to me as well. But look, fair play to the lads, because it was a hot day. But they were clipping around, and Liam Carney I think did the full. I saw Graham Cummins out doing the full, Paul Hunt. So there was lots of former City players out doing the full, and they were all absolutely flying. So it's obviously marathon running, from professional football to marathon running.
How did you get on? What was your time?
I'm alive anyway, and that's all that really matters, Dan.
Decky, did you go to the marathon to have a look?
Absolutely not, Dan. I mean, I'd pass out just watching the lads running around. Not a mind, like...
That was some excitement.
No, I didn't. And I like Eileen. I don't want to get into the whole thing, to be honest with you. I just think we're a full-time professional football club. That's how we put ourselves out there. I think it's embarrassing. Not that the lads ran the marathon. I've huge respect for the lads. I say fair play to them, or that they ran the 10K. I think it's embarrassing that they felt they had to run the 10K. I think it's embarrassing that Liam Carney felt he had to ask them to run the 10K in order to raise money for trips for the academy. To me, if you're a football club, a fully professional football club, you fund the academy, you fund their trips. Shamrock Rovers have 2 teams in England this weekend at some tournament in Chelsea. There's no fundraising or running marathon. Shamrock Rovers paid to send the academy teams there, because that's what professional football clubs do, in my opinion. So, as I said, lots of people disagree with me. That's fair enough. I understand that too. But I think you can't hunt with the hound, or, run with the rabbit and chase with the hound, or whatever that saying is. Like, either we are a professional football club or we're not. We can't have a foot in one camp and then a foot in the other camp. Or we'll ask the lads to run the marathon to fundraise for their own trips. Like, bollocks. Come on.
Do you think it's a lot of people are saying reminiscent to the bag packing stuff?
It is it's the same thing. You're trying to raise funds, but at least that was Forest. Forest were almost a registered charity, not quite a charity, but they were a cooperative and the rest of it. As I said, I didn't really want to get into it. We sold the club to somebody who has the money to run it professionally. I would just expect that academy trips would fall under, especially at the price that people are paying to attend, to be members of that academy and the rest of it. It's not cheap. And it went up significantly since the change of ownership. So, look, I mean, as I said, I swore I wasn't getting into it, and here I am now, 2-foot fellas left, right, centre again. But look, I mean, it's just how I see the world. It's just how I see.
What is the cost?
I think it's just somewhere around €500, just shy of €500. Que sera.
What do you get out of that? Just the gear, is it?
You get to say you're in the Cork City Academy, and yes, you get gear, and you get your training, and you get all that. Like, I understand that, but again, fully professional clubs, charging kids to attend academies. That doesn't sit right with me. It didn't sit right with me when Forest had it. I was like, look, lads, if we're a professional club, you don't charge kids to come to the academy, you know. But again, this is just my view of the world. I'm just one man, you know. So, as I said, que sera, sera.
Do you know of any other clubs in the country charging for the academies, or are we the only one?
No, they're all at it. They all are at it to some degree. I don't know the pricing. Look, it just popped into my head there, so I haven't the research done. I'll hold my hands up to that. I will, if you like. I will do the research if people want us to have the discussion. I will do the research and find out what I can and come back with price comparison.
This leads us a nice segue. A nice segue here.
Tommy Watch with Ivan Draco on the other Three Amigos podcast.
What's the sound system still shit tonight anyway?
I couldn't hear the attendance being called out. I heard it was 2,000.
That was done on purpose, I'd say. It was muffled.
it was 2,000 something and 38, but no, you certainly couldn't hear it clearly. And there's definitely been some change in the sound system, as Scotty pointed out in the last pod. I don't know what that change is, but the standard has definitely fallen in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
And do you think that's in line with the attendances now, that they're seeing the gate receipts go down and they're going, oh shit, we're not making as much money at the gate, Eileen?
Yeah, look, it probably is, and those attendances aren't going to get any better in the next few weeks. Like, I mean, it's an expensive night out for people. It's an expensive night out if you're bringing family, if you're going up and you're paying on the gate. I think people expect to be entertained. You might have had people going down to Park Ring at the weekend watching Cork Gaelic footballers, which is a great game, and they're probably saying, I can't afford to go out here. And then, like, we're at home again next Friday night, and we're home the following Thursday night, and it's a lot for people if you're not being entertained, and it's not entertaining. And like, that is what it is at the moment. Like, today was a top of the table clash. If you can't get a crowd in for that on a really nice bank holiday Monday, you're kind of in trouble, like, because as I said, you'd be saying on top of the table. Like, as Wayne said last week, it's a bit of jeopardy, is there? There's obviously not. I can only see the crowds going one way, and it ain't up, unfortunately. Not with the, I said, big group of games we have together, not the fact that 2 GA teams in Cork are doing well with Euros coming up. There's just an awful lot for people, and it's said, like, it's everything costs money, and I think if people are looking at it, they're going to say, well, I'm not going to spend my money going into Turner's Cross because there's nothing to cheer for. It's not like, you can even the commentators tonight, like, and to be fair to the lads, like, they're incredibly positive all the time, like, and even they were like, this is so flat in the second half at about 60 minutes, like they were running out of things to talk about, like, so
there was moments of silence, so you couldn't blame them because there was just nothing to say, like. Yeah. Decky, we kept on hearing about this match day experience off of Dermot Usher last year. Standard of football seems to have gotten worse. The entertainment value certainly has, in my opinion. I can't see anything else that would make you want to go.
Look,
has your match day experience gotten worse?
I wouldn't say it's gotten worse. I know obviously you're probably going on about you're referencing the football, and look, it is a hard watch and it is tough. But like, I do feel desperately sorry for Tim Clancy, and I've said it a number of times. Like, I mean, what are we heading now? 7 points, is it? I haven't even checked the table.
9, I think.
Yeah, because Finn Harps equalised against Athlone, so it's 9 points again. Like, we've taken 2 points from 9 games, and we're still 9 points clear. You know, it tells you everything you need to know about the division. They're just poor. Like, and Athlone beat us on Friday night. They go and they draw 1-1 away at Finn Harps. We drew with Treaty United in our last home game, 1-1. They lost in Kerry today. Like, you know, like, it's just like, and we know football and results don't make much sense the best of times, and it's not the way really to look at the game. But like, it's frustrating. But like, we have nothing. We have moments of quality in games, but we don't have quality running throughout that team. And I don't care what anyone says. We have plenty of quality to win the first division, and this is the thing. There's probably somewhere between 5 and 10% of the fan base are looking at this team and looking at the league table, and they're saying online to us, and we see them in our comments, they're saying in the forum, and they're talking to people, they're saying, what is wrong with you? We're 9 points clear. Can't you just get behind the team? And that's fine, but the other 90% of the fan base are looking at and going, what happens next year? And we're all projecting forward. And that's football, and that's fans. When you're in this division and you know you have it won, of course you're projecting forward. When you're projecting forward and going, this team's going to get scuttered all over the place next year, if this is what we take up, if this is the team that we take up. So then the next question is, well, what do we do about it? Do we start building in this summer window coming? Or are we within budget and all this stuff that Damien Delaney spoke about? We don't go over budget. So we just start planning now, but we don't make any signings until November. I genuinely don't know. I think the loss in Athlone has another negative effect in that we've spoken about jeopardy, right? There's no jeopardy in us winning the league. But I was going to come on tonight and say the club has a great opportunity to market the Invincibles and the unbeaten season and what you could do with that going forward over the next couple of months. And that went in Athlone. So that's not even there now. So as Eileen says, crowds are going to fall. There's nothing to attract crowds in. Style of football, it's not great. I think two players could change it all. I genuinely do. I think a ball-playing centre-back and a striker who knows how to be a striker, a genuine number 9. And I think you could see a different team second half of the season, a different type of football second half of the season. But until Cian Coleman and Charlie Lyons learn to release the ball quick, like we talk about tempo and why there's no tempo, for me, it became apparent on Friday night that the lack of tempo is because Charlie Lyons and Cian Coleman don't release the ball quickly into midfield. So therefore, the midfielders aren't getting on the ball and getting turned further up the pitch. Greg then gets completely frustrated because he has to come all the way back and he's picking it up from them so deep that his options are completely limited and he's just knocking it back to them and he's throwing his arms in the air and he's waving at them and telling them, why didn't you play it to me there? And Greg wants the ball to his feet 15, 20 yards further up the pitch and they won't give it to him. It's not that they won't give it to him. I think it's like, I'm not going after players because I'm really not, but it's just like there's different types of centre halves. And I don't think either of the two lads are ball playing centre halves who have the ability to knock that ball into Greg or knock it into Jack Doherty and allow them to turn and be much further up the pitch than they are when they actually get the ball. And I think obviously we've all spoken about a 9. Look, lads, I said, look, what can you say? Like God help me for this, like, but Cian Murphy's just rubbish, like. There's just there's just no getting away from it, like. I'm sorry, but people at the club know this as well, like. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that mean person, like. But like you have to call a spade as well, like. You know, I mean, it just is what it is. He's a workhorse. He's an absolute workhorse. But there's no quality in the box. There's no movement in the box. There's no ability to hold the ball up in the box. There's no ability to bring other players into play. It just goes up and comes back. And it's just nowhere near good enough. And it's certainly not good enough for Premier Division football. And like, as I said, I hate to be the one to do it, but everybody's beating around the bush about it. And Graham Cummins and Trevor Welsh and everybody else, everybody's beating around the bush about, oh, we need to sign a striker. Well, why do we need to sign a striker? Because the ones we have are rubbish. Like, and there's just, I'm sorry, like, look, everybody hates me anyway, so let's just go all in, like, let's just go the whole hog, like. I'll be the one to say it again. But look, it's just rubbish, right? And then as a whole team, then the whole team is rubbish because Tim Clancy wants to play to a plan. He wants to play out from the back, and the centre backs aren't able to do it. So if you notice in that loan, then on Friday night, a lot of the time he stopped. Like we always split the 2 centre backs, and Brad Wade always gave to the 2 centre backs. That happened much less tonight, and it happened much less in that loan on Friday night because I presume Tim Clancy's now at the point going, there's absolutely no point in giving it to them because it's just going. So let's just knock it along from the goal kicks and see if we can make something happen further up the pitch. But we can't because we don't have a 9 that allows us to do that. And as I said, I'm genuinely sorry. Like, I'm genuinely sorry for saying it, like, but somebody has to say it, like, somebody has to call it out, like.
I played a cheering sound there for you, Decky. I know you can't hear. That was that was something else. Eileen Ring, do you agree with not to put you on the spot here now, because I don't want to make you look like a prick as well, but do you agree with Decky's sentiments there?
On some of it, I do agree with him. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think in Greg Bulger and Sean Murray, like, they're two Rolls Royces of footballers in this division, and we do not get the ball into them quick enough, and they're both getting really frustrated with it. Like, you want them on the ball, and if you listen to Last Damas, you'll know, like, my pet hate in football is this obsession with playing out from the back. Like, playing out from the back is grand if you have the footballers to play out from the back. We don't. Like, that's just straightforward. We don't have the centre halves play out from the back. Most teams don't, but they all still are obsessed with doing it because it works for a Guardiola side. But, like, there has to be other ways around it. Do I think Cian Murphy is rubbish? I don't. I'm sorry. Like, and I said, look, I understand Decky's point, but I think he's struggling at the moment without a shadow of a doubt. And I do think, like, I think he's a workhorse. I think he needs someone up with him. Like, as you could saw when we were in the first division, say last time, himself and Keating were a brilliant partnership. Like, and I just don't think he works as a one. I think he works better with someone up there. And I said, because I think of his honesty in his work rate, for me, like, that would always kind of win me over with a player, because unfortunately we're in a space of Cork City where the last few years we've had lads who really don't give a on the pitch. Like, they don't care. Like, they're just, and he's not one of them. And for that reason, I'd probably always kind of be a little bit defensive of him. But look, I think why I'm laughing, Decky, is because you're nearly crying saying it. You feel so bad saying it. If people could see your face, you're like, I'm so sorry.
No, and I am, and like what you're saying about with Keating, he played a lot from the right hand side that season, and he didn't play as a 9. And you're right, his work rate is incredible, and he does all those things brilliantly.
Yeah, but he's not the focal point.
Yeah, but yeah, he shouldn't be the focal. No. I've no problem if he plays off the right. I'll be honest with you, none. It's just as a 9, it's just like. I before tonight's game against UCD, but prior to that, I think it's 741 minutes he's played this season. He had 7 attempts on goal and 2 of them on target. He hasn't scored. You need more than a 9. You need more than that out of a 9, is my point. And I'm like, you're laughing in my face because I can see I'm on the phone app and it's different, so I can see my face as well. Like, I can see the 2B and myself, and I know, like, as I said, I genuinely don't like, and maybe, look, rubbish was unfair. I'll recant that. I'll take that back. He's not suited to playing the 9 in the way that we need the 9 to be played. And we have to sign a striker. We have to sign a striker in the summer, somebody who can be that focal point and who can bring others into play, who can make the runs that need to be made. They're hard to find. I know that they're hard to find, but I was thinking tonight with 10 minutes ago, just start Harvey Skeeters on Friday, see how it goes.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, what could go wrong? Like, you know, just give him 90 minutes and see how he gets on.
Eileen, what was I going to say there? As I lose track after Decky's little rant there. There is a certain percentage of the fans who are coming out, as Decky pointed out and said, what are you complaining about? And there's so much noise from the Dublin lads as well, saying, what in the name of Christ are the Cork lads on about? But we're surely well within our rights to be concerned about next season playing the way we are right now.
Yeah, and I think what people have to bear in mind, and look, I can understand that point of view, and I wish I was as positive as that, like, and I could just look at it at face value, but like, we've yo-yoed now a bit, so that's the problem. So we know what's coming, and I think that's the issue, like, and not only that we've yo-yoed, like, we could see, like, this division is a graveyard, like, there's no excitement, like, there's no bit of rivalry with away fans, like, only a handful of clubs kind of bring a proper away support, there's no bit of crack, there's no bit of anything, like, it's just... And I think that's why, like, I understand, as said, why people are like, just get over it. Like, but at the same time, we could see what's coming. And like, I don't want to go up. And I think it was a Declan you said last week, like, it kind of, we're almost the laughing stock. Like when Kevin Doherty was nearly half, not that he was taking the piss, but like, you know, like, oh, it's Cork City, it'll be grand. Like, that should never be
Oh,
the
yeah.
case. Like,
Yeah.
and that's not me being arrogant, but like across every sport and every team in Cork that comes out of Cork, I expect us to fight. I expect to see a huge amount of heart and expect us to kind of battle. And I think the issue is, I would be fearful. And actually, George O'Callaghan said it. He said, for how long is this club going to stick with this same group of players? Like, we're yo-yoing now. Like, so some of these players have been given their chance in the Premier Division and it hasn't worked out. So, like, it's not going to be good enough waiting until November because the whole squad needs a rebuild. So you have to start that in the summer, in my opinion. Again, it's just my opinion. It's not right or anything. But I'm saying, when George said, when I heard him say that, I was like, he's right. Like, we can't. Instead, it's the definition of insanity, like doing the same thing and expecting different results. And I think that's kind of the case of where we're at now. And I think that's what most fans are concerned about.
Look, we are going to walk the league, and looking at the table in the Premier Division next year, like, Dundalk had a good win against Pats today. If John Daly keeps them up, it's probably Drogheda going down. Like, if we go up into that division, Decky, like, from where we are now, we seem absolutely shagged.
There's no UCD. There's no buffer. I mean, we were blessed we had the UCD buffer last year. It gave us a chance. If there was no UCD buffer last year, we were gone without any playoff or anything else, without fail. Galway, people keep saying, you know, oh, Galway went up and they've done this, this, and this. Waterford have gone up and they've done the same. And you thought we'd beat Waterford. I did think we'd beat that Waterford side. I still, if we were playing that Waterford side and that game was being played again in Tallaght tomorrow, I still think we were going to win the game because we were more than capable of it. But Waterford since then, like, they've brought in Barry Bagley. Sorry, Bagley was there. They brought in Harvey McAdam. They've brought in Padraig Ormond, even though they lost
Ronan Coughlin.
Sorry, Eileen, thanks. So they've replaced like for like. They replaced Collins' goals with Ormond. You know, they've added quality. They brought in Darragh Leahy from Dundalk. They brought in McCourt from Dundalk. Like, Leahy is a guy, I believe, that we thought we had signed or were on the verge of signing. And Waterford came in and offered a fee for him. And obviously Dundalk were going to take the fee. So he then went to Waterford and he's had a very good season. He would have been a quality signing for us in this division. You know, it didn't happen for whatever reason, but, you know, those things happen. He's always going to go to the Premier Division option. But, like, I've completely lost my train of thought now. But yeah, sorry. So people talk about Galway. Caulfield had that Galway side together for 4 years. The majority of that side was together that long. They're so well drilled in what they were doing and how he wants them to do it, that when they've gone up, they have the best defensive record in the division. And when you can be that well drilled and you can be that good defensively, you don't need to score many goals. You'll pick up enough points. You'll win enough games 1-0. You'll have enough 0-0 draws to keep tipping over. And like, Galway would probably still finish maybe 7th, 6th, 7th. But it'll be a great season for them. And, you know, everything is good. So, look, I think we can't compare ourselves to Galway and Waterford. We're going to be a completely different proposition. My opinion would be that a lot of players will have to be moved on. I don't know whether the club see it that way or not. It's going to be interesting in terms of what the budget is, what Tim Clancy feels he can do, whether he can start building now in this summer, as Eileen said, or whether he has to wait until November. I think Tim Clancy is another question mark for us next year, to be honest with you. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Tim wasn't here next year. I'm going to just say it straight out. It's my own stuff, but I just think it's really, really hard being away from home like that. It has to be really, really hard. And look, it's a tough thing, and I've always been of the opinion that if he was to get an offer close to home, he would be very interested in taking it, and I still think that's the case. And I hope I'm wrong, because I like Tim Clancy. I think he's done a very, very good job at what he has to work with. I know I criticise the style of playing that, but I genuinely feel I'm being harsh when I do it, because his job, as we have always said, is to win the league, and he's winning it by 9 points. So he's quite entitled to say, what the is wrong with you fools? Like, you know, he's quite entitled to say it. But we expect certain standards, as a Cork City fan base expects certain standards, and the games are just not enjoyable to watch. But Tim is quite entitled to think, my only job here is to win the league, and he's doing that successfully. Will that get him an offer in the off-season? There's going to be managerial changes in the Premier Division. Will that get him a managerial offer closer to home? It may well do. If that offer comes in, what happens? That's my big fear, because I think if we lose Tim Clancy, then you're at 4 managers in 2 years territory, and you're in all kinds of issues and problems. Like, I think there's 2 things has to happen. They have to keep Tim Clancy happy, in my opinion, and they have to deliver a budget and a strategy to massively improve the squad for next year. And if either of those things don't happen, we're going to have a very, very, very tough season next year.
When you were talking about Caulfield and his great defensive record there with Galway, is that not what Tim's doing with City at the moment? I know the players aren't of the same calibre, let's face it, but is he not building the foundations for that maybe to kick on the Premier next year?
He is, Dan, but as I said, John had that group together for 3 years. He was drilling them for 3 years solid, 4 years. Like, there was very few additions. Like, Vince Borden came in for the last season in the first division. Who else came in? Like, I mean, Slevin came in the season before. So he added 1 or 2 in every off season, but he had the core group there for 3 or 4 years, and they just had it down to a T by the time they came up. Cork City aren't in the same boat. Tim is drilling them for 1 year. He's going to have to change a lot of the players, and I think they're too. I understand what you're saying, but I think the circumstances are quite different, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's an interesting conversation. One will park maybe for another while. We're already a certain amount of minutes in. Sorry, Decky, I won't ruin your editing. Eileen, have you tried Spud's Buds yet?
I haven't. I'd never really eat Internus grass, only biscuits that are smuggled to me from an unknown source. But actually, it looks nice. I saw people the game before last one, and they look lovely. I actually might try it. I might try them next week, maybe on the Thursday night.
We'll give it a go.
Yeah, because they look lovely, and they always seem to be busy, which I always think is a good sign of a place anyway.
I suppose the big news of the week, Matthew Collin has joined the club as a sponsorship, merchandise and events manager. Now, the big standout here is they could have at least given him some fucking merch to put in that announcement photo. But anyway, I was like, what player have we signed now, to be honest? I was like, Jesus, who have we got in here? But Decky, it's not a task I would envy, being the sponsorship and merch manager.
Why do you keep coming to me first in this stuff, Dad? It's like you're looking for a tagline every time. Yeah, look, very best of luck to him. Like, I think he's going to need it. I think the first thing he should do is give Paul DC a ring and find out, go for coffee with DC, and let DC explain to him exactly how the whole "it's not personal" Matthew stuff works, you know. And they can take it from there then, because like he's right in our wheelhouse. Like, there's just no getting away from it. Like, merch, we never stop talking about. Events, what events? But there's clearly events coming, so we're going to talk about club events as well. Like, and sponsorship is another thing that we're continually talking about. So unfortunately, when I say, and I say this genuinely, when I say it's not personal, it's not personal, even though everybody disagrees with me. And like, I'm not personally attacking anybody, but we're going to talk about merch. And here's the thing, what we have to remember, what everybody has to remember, is that he's come in as the merchandise manager, but he's coming into a setup that has already made decisions and has already placed orders, and there's money spent and stuff coming. So if this merchandise comes in and we go, geez, you know, this stuff is rubbish and it looks awful, and we start calling him out, it's like, well, okay, he might be the merchandise manager, but he wasn't there when the decisions were made, and that's something people will have to bear in mind as well.
Eileen, the poor soul. He doesn't know what he's getting himself in for, does he?
Absolutely not. Like, but I did have to laugh because most of the replies are like, "Why is he not in Cork City gear? Like, he's the merchandise manager." But look, I actually think it's a positive thing. It's something you talk about a huge amount on this podcast, that like there's not enough people people working behind the scenes at the club. And we just, if in doubt, like, oh, how he'll do it, it seems to be the kind of job. And while he is excellent at everything he does, he can't do everything. Do you know what I mean? And you can't expect too much out of one person. So, but yeah, I would be kind of a little bit wary to be too critical of Matthew coming in. As Declan just said, the fact that all of these decisions have been made, the gear seems to have been ordered. That would include, I presume, designs and stuff like that. So that's all done. So like, that's not his fault. So look, we'll hold off before we get too personal for I suppose a year. We give him 6 months. 6 months. We'll leave him off for 6 months. No, well, I will. I can't say Declan.
There'll be events. There'll be an event now. We'll see what he has in store.
If he invites us to the event, then look, we'll be grand. Is he not inviting us?
I'd say no. I'd say there's some program in place now that just the minute he even types in our email addresses, his desktop would just explode. Like, there wouldn't even be a warning signal. Like, it was just like, type in pod at tota, just big explosion in his office, and he's gone, you know.
Good news, Eileen, for Eva Mangan. She did very well for herself lately.
She did, yeah. She got her first senior call up for the 2 games in Sweden. Look, she wasn't in the match day squad, which wouldn't be unusual for someone on their first call up, to be fair. But they obviously lost on Friday night, and she's in Stockholm now. They're playing there tomorrow night. So look, it's a brilliant achievement for her. It's a brilliant achievement for anyone with the way the women's game at the moment is going, to be called up while you're still playing in the Women's National League here. Like, it's not a particularly common thing that happens. So yeah, like, huge credit to her. If anyone watches the women's side, they'll see, I suppose, how big a leader Eva has become for that side. And like, she's a young player. And look, if you haven't got out to watch her, try to get out to watch her, because I can't imagine that she's going to be here for too much longer, because I certainly think there's probably bigger things in her future, and maybe a professional contract, hopefully for herself, in the next couple of months.
And Decky, let's not forget, she was formerly Toe Taps Eva Mangan.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're absolutely delighted to have played a critical role in Eva's development as a player.
You're welcome.
You know, as we have done in Colin Healy's development as a coach and a manager and a coach, you know. So we're not ones to take credit where we don't deserve it, but obviously both Eva and Colin are happy to give us the credit that is due to us. So we will take it and move on.
We had 3 amputee players called up into the Irish squad: Fergal Duffy, Rory Murphy, and Kevin O'Rourke. So a big congrats to those lads as well. That clapping one very much sounds like the fapping one we used to have. Where's that gone, actually? Did you delete that?
No, I don't know where. No, oh yeah, it could have been gone, all right.
Of course, we had the Toe Tap stream. Toe Tap sponsored the stream in Athlone. Look, Decky, I'm going to come back to you here again, because it was just a fantastic bit of shithousery. But someone at the club, I don't know who it was out the back of LOI TV broadcasting. I was pulling cables because no one could see the thing.
Yeah, look, I mean, I wasn't shithousery. We just saw an opportunity. We've been asking clubs to sponsor us for ages. We've been asking clubs to sponsor us for ages. I emailed every club the last time we were in the first division, and I don't think any of them came back to us, which made me question at the time, you know, sponsorship and how clubs wanted it and whatnot. So it was actually we recorded last Monday night, Dan. I remember you asked me about Athlone. The first thing I said was about brilliant stream. And I thought, Christ, okay, let's ask. And I did, and in fairness, they came back. I said they would be happy to do it, and we agreed the price. And then, to be fair to them, I said, look, let us know how you want to be paid. You know, we can do it online, or we can send a check or whatever. And they came back and said, look, lads, just donate it to the charity that you're donating the Jack's goals money to, which I thought was an unbelievable gesture from Athlone and Anthony Quinn and Quinn AV, who does all that stuff for Athlone and runs all that stuff. And look, I know there was an issue, and I was actually in the Everyman on Friday night, so I wasn't watching live. That's why I watched it back today, and it worked perfectly today. when I was watching it back. At the break, I was actually at a comedy show on the Everyman on Friday night, and I just say, what a venue for a comedy show. If you ever get the chance to host one there, you definitely should do so. You know, it's a brilliant venue for a comedy gig. So at half time in that, I saw the messages coming in about the stream, and I checked my phone, and it was working perfectly, absolutely perfectly, on my phone. So I could see we were 1-0 down. I was like, you're f***ing joking me, like. And yeah, look, it is what it is. We were happy to do it. Well, I want to thank, as I said, Anthony Quinn and Quinn AV for allowing us to do it. Their stream is top quality. I know some people might have missed it on Monday night. It wasn't Athlone's fault. It wasn't Quinn AV's fault. It was something with LOI TV and their servers. And I think there was Apple
Products.
Products. Yeah,
Products,
sorry.
yeah.
Apple products were affected, and anybody using Safari browser or something was affected.
It was
as
just
well.
all Apple.
I'm not going to pretend to
Yeah.
understand.
It didn't matter what browser.
Yeah, but yeah, there was Cork City employees seen out the back of the van in Athlone pulling cables and cutting internet cables. You know,
Allegedly.
so I refuse. Allegedly, I refuse to believe that. I don't believe that at all. You know, but from what I did see it, and as I said, I watched it back today, and again, the stream was fantastic. The commentary was top class. The lads were just like, I don't think there was one decision all night that two of them agreed on, which is great to hear, because, like, you know, they're bouncing it, like, you know, or replay that Charlie Lyons goal there again for me. He's offside. No, he's not offside. And the two of them are going at it, like, you know. So
The replays and stuff were great.
yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic. It's just a pity for us that it probably didn't reach the audience that we were hoping it would reach, but that's the joys of it.
But people are talking about it now, you know?
Yeah, absolute joys of it. And if we get another opportunity, there's another First Division club out there. We have to visit them all, bar Longford and Finn Harps. So any of the other clubs want us to sponsor their stream, give us a shout and we'll gladly do it.
Who'd you go see who's performing in the Everyman?
Neil Delamere.
He's not
You know
that
what?
great.
No,
Come
it
on.
was a Christmas present, and we went, and he was very funny. It was very, very good. His crowd interaction stuff was fantastic, and you know, we laughed heartily. And then we were leaving, we were walking out afterwards, and my wife says to me, "Did Cork City lose?" And I was like, "What are you asking?" She said, "You should see the face on you," and I just saw you check the phone. It's like, yeah, they lost, and I'm sorry. I'll cheer up now again. It's like,
Poor wife.
you should just see the puss. You should see the puss on you, is all she said to me.
Long suffering.
Yeah, poor woman.
If you wanted to see other comedians, Decky, is there any other names you'd like to see in the next few months, maybe?
I'd love to see Chris Kent in the Everyman. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, he's unreal.
Very good, and it's a top class venue. Who else? No, there's a woman from Dublin, but I can't think of her name.
Emma Doran. I saw her in the Everyman last year. She's very good. She does very good
Yeah.
sketches.
That's her.
Yeah.
That's her. Yeah, she'd be good. I mean, if somebody could package them all together, maybe into kind
Yeah,
of
it'd be
3 or
interesting,
4
wouldn't it?
20-minute spots or half an hour spots, I'd probably definitely go and see them then.
Are you saying the club should run some sort of comedy show?
The club is running a comedy show with 18 months then. Boom, boom. I've been waiting 3 weeks to get that one in there.
That's a
You might
terrible
get a
drum
spot
roll, by the way.
yourself,
We need a new
Declan.
one. Well, look, we may as well talk about some football. And our first loss all season. Eileen Ring, how did you cope with it? You don't seem too bothered. I mean, I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, do you know what? Actually, to be honest, obviously the stream wasn't working, so I was being agitated by the Irish women's team at the same time as trying to kind of follow the game on Twitter. Yeah, like, it's frustrating. As I said, I think that kind of invincible thing was something that maybe gave the kind of kept a bit of interest in the season. Declan, what are you laughing at? He's going to say something bold.
He's trying to be all coy, drinking his water there as well. Like,
I was going to say, Eileen's dream night being agitated by the Irish women's team.
Jesus Christ. Only some of them. But no, like it was obvious. No, like I think the invincible thing was that was probably something that we were all kind of holding on to, as I think Pat Connolly once again so brilliantly illustrated after the game. Like, yeah, look, it was disappointing. It was the goal. He doesn't mean it, does he? Does he mean that, Declan?
No, it's a cross.
No, it's a cross.
Well, I know Declan, anytime any female player scores, like Declan's like, that was mishit. She mishit it. 40
You
yard,
saying
like
Declan's
thunder
sexist?
bastard. No, he's he always a sexism on Las Damas. So, yeah, look, it's a disappointing one, but I do think, like, I suppose, given how we play, and I know we talk about how poor the division is, but like the City game's always everyone's cup final as well, and like it's not that like we've been ever hammering teams, and like we are poor at times in how we play, so it was probably a matter of when we were going to be caught. It would have been great if it went on a bit more, because it said I do think it kind of generated that little bit of interest. Obviously that's gone now, but yeah, it is what it is. It's not that I don't care. I was gutted, but at the same time, you move on. Like, we're comfortable enough, and the way the division goes, and every other team seems to just drop points. Like, we're still safe enough. Like, that we're going to. I think we'll have a one by August, like the end of August.
Absolutely. Decky, you were talking about coming out of Neil Delamere there after the result.
Coming out.
Yeah, like as I said, I went back and I watched it today, and then I finished watching that and I went up to the UCD game, like, and I'm just ready to commit Harry Carey, to be honest with you, like, but like, it was interesting that Tim went after the players to a certain degree on Friday night. He spoke about effort and commitment and those things, which aren't things he has spoken about at any stage previously this season, So that was in, and he said it to them in the dressing room afterwards, that the things that went wrong on Friday night could be corrected today. I'm not so sure they were corrected today, to be honest with you. Like, Friday night was just poor again. And I mean, once Athlone score, they really, really sit in and are happy to play us on the break. And this is the thing, like, they sit deep, they don't press us. And when they sit deep like that, that's what I'm talking about, ball playing centre backs. You need centre backs who can whip that ball into midfield and make them come out. But they were happy. They were saying, look, leave the two centre backs have the ball no matter where they have it, because they're not going to hurt us. They don't have a pass in them that's going to hurt us. And it was true. And Greg was getting frustrated, and you could see the hands in the air and the rest of it. And it's just, but it's not something that can be corrected immediately. It needs new players to correct the issue, in my opinion. So it's a pity the unbeaten run went. As Eileen says, it was probably always going to go at some stage, but when it's there and when it's ongoing, you still have the hope and you still have the belief that you can maybe nab that £1,000 from Marymount. But look, something else will come up, and we'll see what we can do in terms of doing stuff for Marymount. But look, I thought we were poor. The Evan McLaughlin sending off.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that.
Ridiculous. Like, I mean, I have a lot of time for Evan. I think he's been pretty close to being our player of the season so far. That's just silly. It is just silly, and he'll know it. And Tim Clancy clearly knew it, and Tim Clancy was clearly after telling him between the game finishing and doing the interview, like, and Tim did speak about Dean Evie going down easy and things like that. It doesn't matter. You can't put your hands up to somebody's head at this stage. Like, we all know that. His earlier booking was his 5th anyway, which meant he was going to be suspended for today no matter what happened. But look, it just, the Charlie Lyons goal, was it onside? Was it offside? It's really, really difficult to say from the stream. Tim was pretty insistent that it was onside, and they probably have a better camera angle because they would have their own cameras, doing their own analysis cameras, probably positioned in different positions as well. So they may have a much better an angle that's a much better view for them. He was pretty insistent it was onside. From the stream, I thought he was a small bit offside, to be honest with you. But it doesn't really matter. It's one moment in time. We should be capable of going to Athlone and creating more than what we created and create more genuine goal scoring opportunities than what we created. And that's been the story all season. We just cannot create. And that's our biggest issue.
Eileen, red card for you. Sorry, when you're finished taking her selfie there.
Sorry, I was actually taking a picture of my ice bath for someone who wanted to see how big it was in my backyard.
One of the Irish women team,
Sorry
was
about
it?
that. No, not at all. Although maybe formally, yeah, actually, probably she was formally actually. But yeah, it was a red card, right? And it was just stupid, wasn't it? And like that, I actually think Evan McLaughlin, probably apart from Greg Bulger, has been he's been really consistent. Like he's been excellent for us this season. Look, it's a moment of madness, and it's just something you can't have. Like I thought the way today's game was going as well, like the way the referees are, like very easy to pick up a red card. I think we do well to probably not pick up more. Like I was convinced for a while today we were definitely going to have another. Like you just have to be so careful. Like they punish anything. I think like the amount of cards in general in the league is absolutely bananas. But look, he knows himself. Look, there's no point in us coming on and hammering. It's a stupid mistake. He is still a young player. I'm sure he'll learn from it. But yeah, it's a red card, right? I can't really argue with it. Like, and I'd argue with anything.
For the Athlone goal, Decky, do we have anything to be really worried about in that regard, in regards to how they got it, or was it just a bit of a fluke, really?
That's a fluke, but as Tim said, you need to be out to stop the cross, and there's nobody there stopping the cross. Like, and it floats over Brad Wade's head. I'm not sure there's nothing I don't think that Brad Wade can do about it. He's looking for Dean Evie at the back post. It drops inside the post. It's just one of those things. You'll have that. We'll probably have one goal for us before this season ends. That one went against us. There was only, was it 13 minutes gone? So we had more than 3/4 of the game corrected afterwards, and we couldn't. So, yeah, it is what it is, but it's a definite fluke. There's no deliberate action there.
Bradley Wade, Eileen, how big of an impact do you think he's had with us this season?
I think he's been brilliant. I do. And I think like for long periods in games, like he has nothing to do. And then when called upon, he does. Now, obviously the goal aside in Athlone, I think he's been excellent. And we were crying out for a long time for a good keeper. We've had a bit of a horror show really since David Harrington's went, haven't we? Like we'd lost all faith. I think as a fan base, we'd lost all faith in just every goalkeeper there at one point last season. So it's great. Like, and instead, I think for a keeper to keep your concentration. And we saw how difficult it was for them. Like, and these were professional goalkeepers that we had playing with us last year as well. It's not that they were lads we were finding out in the street. Like, so, I mean, it's not an easy thing to be tuned in. Yeah, well, I know it was touch and go for a while, wasn't it? But, like, it's not an easy thing to stay kind of tuned in and be alert and make some of the saves he's made this season. He's been brilliant. He's been a really, really good signing for us and long overdue.
Well, we asked for the people's MVP. Brad Wade won the vote at 58% of it. Greg Bulger in second, 24%. Nevin third, 11%. And then Sean Murray in fourth with 7%. Billy Dorney comments, all the poor away fans. Anthony O'Sullivan says, has to be Cian Murphy for me. Worked hard all night and won a lot in the air. Despite being so isolated, he also says, Decky doesn't have a fucking notion what he's on about, is actually what he follows out with.
And Anthony's going to be a former listener to the podcast after he listens to this week's episode.
Linux Pizza says, I have a feeling Toe Tap forgot to bring the halftime Decky Sambos for the players. They had no energy today. What in the name of Christ is in a Decky Sambo?
I have no idea. I've never... there's no Decky Sambo. I've nothing trademarked. I've never used a... I don't know, unless he's talking about my brown bread. That it was, the brown bread I baked. That wasn't used for the sambos at half time. That's all I can come up with. I don't know, to be honest with you.
What's your ideal sandwich if you were to make one?
Boring, Cian Coleman, relax.
I'm boring. Like, it's just ham, cheese, and chicken all the time. Dry.
Mm-hmm. Garrett the Sonnet Barry. I vote for the away fans as well. Gene O'Keefe says City 100%. City 100%, but that was hard watching tonight. Major change in attitude and tactics needed. I I also put up, since it's our first loss of the season, type as many words as you want. So I don't know if we get through all of these. I was saying torn on a 2-word between toe tap jinx or poor Mary Mount. The Billy Darty comments, JD wouldn't score the fucking bottle with a free pass on his pocket.
I don't know who you said, but I nearly know who said it. Like,
oh, you know.
I know.
We'll get to, I think we found another comment of his later on. I think if I could see it there, I'll call it out. Kieran Deneen says, if you sit comfortable at the top of the table, knowing average performances will usually get you over the line, it will come back to bite you eventually. Wayne says, terrible shit, embarrassing, shameful. The worst part is, nobody cares. Losing to Athlone Town. Billy Darney says, buy a fucking striker for fuck's sake. Wasn't the goal in that bunch tonight. No fucking fight, pride or passion. Please don't resign. Most of our current bunch, not near Premier Division standard, hadn't the bastard clue up there tonight. Oh, wasn't he saying how great they were the week before?
It's a roller coaster. Like, it's an emotional roller coaster with Billy. Like he really lives it, doesn't he? Like, I feel exhausted reading his tweets. Like, how must he be feeling living it firsthand?
Richie says, as soon as the window opens, need number 9 to play off Jack and a creative midfielder, because no Cathal O'Sullivan means no spark at all, and he's too young to depend on. Gareth Sonnet Barry says, the so-called invincible are insufferably boring. Connor says, couldn't watch, didn't watch, glad I didn't watch, no longer want to watch, better watch themselves on Fraud Watch. You Park Like a Langer says, Brad Wade is the new Mick Devine. What a keeper, but losing to Athlone Town is simply not good enough. We're never going to concede a load of goals, but at the same time, we don't ever look like scoring one, let alone 2 or 3. Premier next season is a huge step up. Gareth the Sonnet Barry, boring shite. If I had a ball and a piece of straw, I'd suck the ball and kick the straw. Joe Langford, terrible performance. That defeat is long overdue. No threat up front. A welcome kick up the hole, says Edwin Hannon. Linux Pizza says flat as a pancake. Sean says played about as well as tonight as a stream from Turner's Cross. Anthony Falvey says they'll probably finish the year. Tim Clancy thinks tactics are sugary pills that come in a little clear box.
It's your eating tonight, Dan.
They're Aldi version. They're orange flavour soft mints there from Amity. They're actually very nice. Would highly recommend. Any comment there you want to pick up on?
Yeah, I think the Cathal O'Sullivan one is one worth picking up on, because I mean it does look like we've a bunch of players who are looking for a 17-year-old to win them football games, and when he's not there, it's kind of like everybody's looking around at like, who's going to do it now? And the question is, bar Greg Bolger, bar Sean Murray, bar Jack Doherty, who's going to put their hand up and say, I'll be the one? Evan McLaughlin puts his hand up, but there's not enough hands up. There's 4 or 5 hands up every game going, give it to me, I'll try and do something, I'll be the one. You need 9 or 10 hands up every game, like, and we're just not doing that. And as I said, to me, it's a bit of a sad reflection on everybody else when Cathal is out and we can't raise a gallop. Like,
I found the tweet I was looking for from Anonymous. Try guess who this one's from. Do you know about Invincible? I gave them both barrels a short while ago in the Mardyke Arena. Embarrassing. Whores didn't bother their holes putting in a shift in Athlone. We'll be absolutely destroyed in the Premier Division if that attitude and team prevails. One toe tapper have a pop off the lads inside the Mardyke Arena.
I hope the toe tapper is a member of the Mardyke Arena and didn't go in there especially to do that.
Would you be surprised? Well,
the other thing that was said, toe tapper could find themselves under punishment from the club for speaking to the club players in an untoward manner.
Potentially so. That concludes the first half, toe tapper. Come back to us in the second half. We will have the UCD review. You say it best, as well as a Longford Town preview. Yeah, it's really come to this.
Hey,
Hey, Toe Tapper. As you know, everything is increasing in price. Extra small clothes, anger management classes, raw liver is the same price as gold. And kids' sweets used to have 20 per pack and now only have 5 in each one. And Jack Doherty is on course to score 100 goals. And he's going to bleed us dry. We need you to help the gang by joining our Patreon for exclusive pods, news and much more. For $5 a month, you can ensure that Wayne doesn't smash up his laptop, that Dan has really small clothes, Eileen is satisfied, and Declan gets lots and lots of jellies. Head to patreon.com/ToeTap to support the cause.
Welcome back to part 2. So Tapper, City 0, UCD 0. Eileen, just boring shite again.
Do you know what? I actually didn't think the first half was that bad. Is that my expectations are low or not? But I thought we were all right. Look, the UCD keeper was probably player of the game, which always says a lot. But I thought the second half we were desperate. Sean Murray was excellent. We looked like we might create a bit. We got a ball into the box a bit. Like that Sean Murray effort from the halfway line, like such a shame it didn't go in because it, like the technique in it, like first time effort, it's absolutely incredible. It's a shame it doesn't go in. But yeah, like it was poor, wasn't it? It's just like I said, like kind of come 60 minutes. I do think in the first half, like they went out kind of maybe a little bit with it, like Friday had hurt them a little bit, but that had just died off by the 60th minute and it was just that flat. And back to Decky's point a while ago, nobody put their hand up and saying like, I'm going to win this. And I don't know, like Dyche, like that effort laid on. Look, his touch is magnificent, like to bring it down, but the effort is terrible then. And look, that's just a lack of game time. It really is. And you don't want to be too harsh on a lad, literally the first time kicking a ball this season. But yeah, kind of flat and that lack of urgency, that kind of that last 30 minutes. And a special mention for the referee, who I thought was absolutely atrocious, even by our very low standards. In particular, like the one on Drynan in the second half, I think I wrote that up in the group. Like it's clear, like he is a fistful of his jersey and it's clear as day.
Rory called
and
out
look,
the commentary.
Like referees are like, I get it, it's a really, really hard job, but like Jesus Christ, it's right in front of you. Like it's and he saw everything else that appeared. So it was just frustrating, and it's three without a win, like, and that's not I said it doesn't matter because we're still gonna win, but like yeah, it was tough. I thought the first half's okay. Second half I thought was shite, to be honest.
Yeah, Decky was that UCD keeper really kept him in it. It could have been like we could have had 3 or 4 goals there tonight, realistically, could we?
For me, Bagsy misses an awful chance. I'm sorry, and I'm just annoyed now tonight, so I'm probably just going to go in on players and regret it tomorrow. Like, but I know people say, "Oh, it hit the keeper in the face, and it's fierce unlucky and whatnot." You have to score from there. Like, you can't give the keeper a chance for it to hit his face. Like, and I know that's very harsh. I understand that, but we create so few genuine goal scoring opportunities. It just becomes so imperative that when we do create them, that we take them. Because when we miss one, we're not creating a second one. We're not creating a third one, you know? So it's so imperative then that we take the ones that we do create. And we did. And Eileen talks about Sean Murray's effort from the halfway line. Brilliant, brilliant strike of a football. But it's probably, bar Bagsy's header, it's our second best goal scoring opportunity of the game. And it's from the fucking halfway line, you know? So, like, but, you know, that's what it is. Eileen said, the referee, Declan Toland, he was never going to make a big decision. Like, from about 5 minutes in, he wasn't making a big decision. Ronan Finn had 2 fouls. Then he booked him for pulling back. Was it Keane Murphy he pulled back? And Finn was involved in everything after that. Finn could have done anything he wanted to do. Toland wasn't sending him off. I think because he was Ronan Finn, you know, and he still saw him as the Shamrock Rovers stalwart in midfield and the rest of it. Now, to be fair to Ronan Finn ran the game in midfield for UCD, and he talked everybody around him through the game. He never stopped talking to fellas. He never stopped positioning fellas and telling them where they should be and what they should be doing and everything else. Like, and he was very good to watch from that point of view. The thing that struck me and that I found funny was that Greg Bulger came on and Ronan Finn decided, I don't want any part of this, and was substituted off, So, it's just like he saw Bulger coming and says, nah, I'm out of here, lads. Good luck. I'm not taking this guy on, but look, I agree with Eileen. I actually thought the game wasn't that bad between the two boxes, but neither side had 1 ounce of quality up front. There wasn't, I don't think Brad had a save to make. The UCD keeper makes a good save from Greg Bulger in the last minute there as well, with Bulger's volley from outside the box, as Eileen said. There's Sean Murray's effort, there's Bagsy's, and people might come out, and there might be other podcasts who say, oh, we had great chances and we were unlucky not to score and everything else. Not for me. We just, that's the thing, we do not make genuine goal scoring opportunities. We're not creative in around the box. We don't have a presence in the box. We don't get enough bodies in the box. And, we'll continue to win games 1-0 between here and the end of the season. We'll go up. But people want to say we're top of the first division and we're being promoted. That's fair enough, and I understand that, and that's exactly what we are. But to me, currently, we're the 11th best side in the country. There's 10 teams ahead of us in the Premier Division. And my thing is, how do we get from 11th to a minimum of 8? Because that's the gap that has to be closed between now and this time next year. And that's all I'm looking at. We'll win this league. I'll applaud them. I'll say, well done, lads. Congratulations and everything else. That's it. The following day, it's done and dusted, and we're on to the Premier Division. And it's all about how we get ourselves set up and ready for that, It's now 5 to 9. I'm sitting in Cork in a car park making this podcast. I watched the Athlone. I basically gave up my whole bank holiday Monday to Cork City. I'm not regretting it. I'm not giving out about it. But this is what people do. The ground today, actually, I meant to mention, it was full of kids. There was kids everywhere, and the 5 o'clock kickoff was actually brilliant for it, because there was families in with young kids, and you could hear it was kids' first time being there, etc. Because you just know that, and it was brilliant. But if you take all those kids out, that crowd drops from whatever it was, 2,500, it drops to under 2,000 without fail. And there was one little lad behind us for the last 30 minutes, kept saying to his dad, when's it over? Dad, when's it over? Every 2 minutes, his dad would go, oh, look, there's 20 minutes left or whatnot. He's like, Dad, when's it over? Oh, there's 18 minutes left now. We won't be like, Dad, when's it over? There's 15 minutes left. He was like, this kid was just having none of it at this stage. He was done and dusted at that stage, But look, it is what it is.
Without getting into a big conversation about it, because we are stuck for time, how long do you think it's going to be before we see an under 2K attendance in the Cross?
I'm not sure that will happen, I'll be honest with you.
I don't think it will either.
Yeah, I don't think that happens. I think there's enough of us who are diehards and who will go. And look, we're still winning the league. I hate being internally negative, because I don't think Tim Clancy deserves it. I don't think the players deserve it. Tim is working with what he has. As I said, Dan, I think if you sign a decent centre forward and a ball playing centre back, you can have a very enjoyable second half of the season where you have a team that create and score lots of goals and push on. And as I said, you could have 3,500, 4,000 people, because they know they're going to win 3 or 4-0 every time they turn up to watch it, and it could be brilliant. But we need to sign the players, in my opinion.
Someone who would absolutely slated you over the kids' joke is this man.
You say it best when you leave a voice note.
We'll get a reaction.
Things, yeah, another shit result, lads. I'm sorry though. I don't think this Clancy fella's good, boy. I don't know. Maybe he's like, but the fucking Jesus Christ, can't score a goal, Jeez. I don't want it. I'm not kind of pissed off over it, because I was down the dock today. Not the docks. I was down the dock in Kinsale, and I got scalded, burnt. So, my face now and my arms are all burnt. But I have a little poem I have kind of written, saying it. maybe it might help the team, you know. I'll say that now. So here we go. Turn off the music in the background. Oh, sorry, Dad. Here we go. If I was a number 9, I'd be sublime. I score all the goals and I get all the hoes. Good luck, lads.
This is the talker.
How's it going, lads? Stalker Barry on another night trip. Yeah, be your fantasy. It is now 10 to 12. And here I am,
That's a video.
watching this house.
Oh, for sake.
It's okay, because if anybody comes along and asks me what I'm doing, I just say I'm doing outside broadcast for Toe Tap Podcasts. And I'm an investigative journalist for Toe Tap, so that's how I get away with it. Whoever lives down the bottom of that house, they're going to be.
It cuts off at you. They're going to be.
Stacey Dooley, I'd say. That was a sleepless night anyway. The dogger's coming for her job.
And now Toe Tap are involved. He's name dropping us if the guards come up to him, Decky. Like, we're in serious shit here. You said it all along.
I said this 2 weeks ago, and there is a video with that again. He is,
to be honest, look,
there.
Garrett,
he's showing us
it's giving Martha from Baby Reindeer now at this point, like, isn't it? It's getting a slight bit concerning for us all.
And he's showing us the radio, and it's "Let Me Be Your Fantasy" is the song, and the time is 10 to 12, like 11:50 p.m. Like, so he is where he says he is at the time. He says he's there playing the music. He says
if anyone starts looking in the window of your car soon, Decky, I'd get a fright, to be honest. Right?
You know, it's like
pull out fairly loudly. Get out of that car park.
Leash on him or something. I don't know. He'd love that. You know, that's stuff. What a poor choice of words, but like we just have to. We just have to. I don't know. We'll have to have a word with him or something. Tell him don't be name dropping Toe Tap anyway, please. Or we will be at that court case.
But keep sending us in the videos. It makes for good content.
From your own house, it would be better, to be honest. For all.
Longford preview. Eileen, you must be excited about this one.
I'm buzzing and I absolutely can't wait. That's one game you look forward to all year. Longford coming to town. The glamour tie that it is. I am looking forward to it. I'm going to go in because, as Declan said, look, that's what we do, isn't it? We go into these games and we support and we give out in person and we give out to each other. But look, they're quite up and down. But I think they're poor. There, I said it. So I think we're going to get back to winning ways. While I understand, like Tim Clancy was saying, like you want to go out today and right wrongs of Friday. There's no time to do that in that time. So look, hopefully they can address the 2 games. You have 4 days now before the next one. Be concerned that Sean Murray's injury looked muscular. So like it looked like it was his calf. So like you think he could be out, but obviously Greg will come back in. It's just always that creative spark. Like you wonder where it's going to come from. As Declan said, like one of our best chances today is a moment of brilliance, like from a player from a halfway line. Like you're not going to have that every game, unfortunately, although it would be really fun. So look, I do fancy us to get back to winning ways. And look, hopefully there'll be a good enough crowd out there. But I said, I think we need a good result and we need a couple of goals and a better football to have any crowd the following week, or else like Ramblers will nearly be outnumbering us. Like that's, do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be a huge game for their supporters coming up to turn us cross. Like, and if we have another bad result on Friday night, the following Thursday, the City support will be minimal. Like,
Decky, do you think it will be minimal?
No, I don't. I'm not on the whole small crowd bandwagon yet, to be honest with you. I don't think it gets below 2,000. Like that's the question you're asking. Look, Longford, Eileen's right. Longford are poor. They're bottom for a reason. I know they changed manager recently, but for the life of me sitting here now, and I normally have it written down, I can't think of the new guy's name. But he's there a long time. They were 0-0 today away in Wexford at 80 minutes, and 86 minutes they're 2-0 up. And I thought, oh shit, they're coming in now with a bit of momentum. They're after winning in Wexford. They might give us a game. And they end up drawing the game 2-2. You can see twice in the last 4 minutes, like, you know. And I'm kind of going, okay, well, yeah, defensively, they're not good. We saw that the times we were up there. We scored 4 up there. I know they were all from set pieces. But look, why not do that again? Doesn't matter how you get them, just get them. But Sean Murray was immense today, and as Eileen said, if it is a calf injury, he does miss a month or whatever it is, that is a blow, like, you know. And like people are going to, I know people are like, they hear us talking about creativity and they're going to be shouting into their audio listening devices, you know, Jack Doherty, we're all about Jack Doherty, but like Jack Doherty played off Wilson Waweru and Cove last year. Big, strong number 9 who occupied 2 centre halves and who allowed Jack to have that freedom around. Teams aren't worried about our number 9s occupying them, so it allows them to concentrate on Jack. And UCD were man-marking Jack Doherty all day today because they could. They could keep him quiet, and plus he's only coming back from injury. So obviously it's Jack's fitness and his match, which is Scotty's big thing, like, you know, match awareness, and that comes back to where it should be. He will get better, but I do think to help him as well, a 9 who would occupy the 2 centre backs and do that kind of stuff would help him immensely as well, and who would be seen as a threat, which the defensive unit then has to worry about rather than just focusing on Jack. With 90% of what it does would be a big help to him as well.
Give us a score prediction.
We conceded in 3 games in the trot, and then we kept a clean sheet today. I hope we get back to a clean sheet against them. I'd be confident. I think they're a poor side. I'm going to say 3-0, and people are going to choke on whatever it is they're eating. But I think 3-0.
I'm saying 1-0. Eileen?
I was going to say 3-0, so I'm going to now say 5-0 instead.
We'll go to Decky's room 101. Decky, what's something else you would change in 2025?
I would change the easy living signage along the stand because it's absolutely after wearing away to nothing. So if they are still a sponsor and they're obviously the Easy Living Suite, and I presume the signage part of whatever deal was that desperately needs to be upgraded for them for next season. So I presume that's something the club would have in hand. But in case they don't and they haven't noticed it and the Easy Living Suite or Easy Living aren't fully aware of it, I'd make them aware of it now and say that desperately needs to be upgraded for next season.
Good spot, Decky. Good spot. There's not much else left except to go to the mailbag, I think. And I think we only had one submission. Everything kind of got lost tonight. Oh, the 5-word. I did a 5-word tonight for UCD game. Forgot to come to that, lads.
Just for Billy.
Did he even comment yet?
He did.
He did.
This one is brilliant. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's probably 55 words, though, is it?
No, 5 words, and it's brilliant.
Oh, but Decky, I don't get the reference. Board Planala, move over quickly.
Board Planala. What was it? Board Planala, move.
Move over quickly.
Move more quickly.
Oh.
Board Planala, move more quickly. The planning board. So those who do all the planning processes and the planning appeals and all that, so move more quickly.
Very tame for him.
That was a good one out of Billy's running now. Sorry, I didn't get the reference now either, but fair play to him. I was reading it and I got it wrong. Irish Football Blog says, what's even the point anymore? Leaside Boy says, not f***ing good enough shit. Dunnock said, UCC are better than he. Richie says, 8 minutes to go to make changes. Really? Richie Ott says, attendance today, 2.5k. Saturday, 600 and a dog. Jamie Shirts on the wall says, not coming over this year. Billy, we had Billy's. Fiona C says, hoof and hope all evening. Anthony O'Sullivan says, bring back Decky's ref watch. Sean O'Mahony says, we've been completely found out. Connor K says, genuinely worst referee performance ever. Charlie says, Cork are falling apart again. Sean says, absolute heap of misery. Magpie says, 1 goal in 3 games. Scott CCFC says something in Spanish. El Pretro few on Merda. I have no idea. I think he's Merda is shit, is it?
Merda is shit, anyway,
yeah. Philly Crowley says,
we all know that.
Blunt up front yet again. Richie Hadlow. Does anyone actually really care? Peter O'Keefe for still 9 points clear. Gene O'Keefe, City, excellent. UCD keeper made 4 world-class saves. Ref, one of the worst ever in the cross. Damien Shreenan says, please kill me, I beg. Rebel Army 84. I'm sure he has some brothel or prostitute
some
things to do for
escorts on the
96
go,
anyway.
yeah.
Rebel Army 84 says, absolute disaster class from the ref. The Bows Phoenix says, Hughes will not get promoted. LOI Observer. Schoolboy refereeing and schoolboy performance. Aid Long, point. Stephen O'Neill, slow, lethargic, boring, repetitive, painful. Conor Hennebury, sign Cian Moore for Prem. Roy O'Sullivan says, ref and teams shite. And Cian actually says, shite ref for shite also. So the referee getting a nice old doing there. Eileen, I think you're happy enough for that though.
Yeah, do you know? Yeah, and my favourite one there was the one that said City excellent, because that's what I love about football. Like, we've just come on here and we've just said how bad it was, and someone watched that and thought it was excellent, and what a wonderful world football supporting is like, and the just variety of how we all see things so differently. I just think that's class. Someone out there sat down and watched that match and said, we were excellent. And I wish I was that person. And Declan McCormack definitely wishes he was that person. Because he is dead inside.
It was Wayne Mullins. He finally delighted with a bit of Jeopardy, you know.
He didn't even watch it. Like, don't mind that fella. Like, he definitely wasn't watching wherever he is.
Postman Pat, in black and white cat. The cat makes race. Early in the morning, one bag of man is yawning. Him pick up all of the post bag in him hand. A real bad man. Postman Pat, and he mix up cat. Him team light skin. All of the bird them singing, but Pat na fool him a roll with the big thing. Just in case them try to rob him van.
Decky, you're looking a bit uncomfortable there. You're like, people are eyeing you up, are they?
Yeah, there's people walking past the car or whatnot, like, you know, like, I'm kind of just sitting there going, like, you know, I'm talking. It probably looks to them like I'm talking to myself, and also, like, how long is the piece of Postman Pat music? Like, I mean,
brilliant.
5 seconds.
Right.
Tremendous.
All of that as well for one question. Colin says, when does the transfer window open for LOI teams? Screaming for that number 9 again, hopefully with the view to next season rather than this season.
1st of July.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only part of his question, really. Another anonymous toe tapper has come in our DM, says, can we realistically he's written an essay here, can we realistically stay up next season retaining the bulk of this squad? Obviously not, I suggest, but will we be ruthless enough to cut the majority of the squad, which clearly will struggle big time next season? Again, I feel we won't have the balls to cut the chaff and will be in danger of becoming a yo-yo club. To be honest and frank, I've not seen a performance this season which instills confidence in us not being anything other than the team no Premier club will fear. We need that minimum, a Premier striker. Can't rely on children. Most may not be with us for much longer anyways. A decent quality proper number 9, quality backup for keeper, position, etc., etc. Purse strings need to be loosened well before next season kicks off. That was actually a well thought out piece.
I'm sitting here asking myself, did I write that? Did I send
it's
that
like,
in?
Like we talked about tonight, like.
Yeah, it's everything we said, and I think whoever it is correct. Yes, we will be. Will we have the balls to cut it? I think Tim Clancy would have balls to cut it. The question is, what does his budget allow him to do? It's very easy for us to sit here and say, look, Eileen, let's get rid of 17 players and bring in 17 new players. But like, that's rarely how it works, and it doesn't work that way for a reason, because, you know, when you're trying to integrate that many new players, it's very difficult anyway. But normally there's budget constraints and everything else. Like, so, look, the truth of the matter is none of us really know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But as I said, I just hope Tim Clancy is given the budget and the time, i.e. starting this June, not starting in November, to rebuild and reshape the squad that he wants for the Premier Division next year.
And that concludes this episode of the other 3 Amigos podcast. Eileen Ring, thank you so much for taking time out of your bank holiday Monday to spend here on Toe Tap.
You're so very, very welcome. I only did it now because I finally had a plus point. I was promised a toe tap mug about 5 years ago now at this point by Wayne Mullins to do last Thomas. The only time I've ever got a benefit was I was released the Georgie podcast early yesterday morning by Declan, so I could listen to it running my 10k. So I said I owe them one, although really I don't at all.
Declan McCormack care to respond as HR manager?
I'm Eileen's hero, like, obviously, you know. I gave her early access and she's now doing us a favour. But yeah, look, don't worry. Eileen will be looked after again the next week or so. She just doesn't know it yet. She just doesn't know it yet.
What?
Yeah.
Trip to that ice bath yet?
Declan's he's driving down here. He's going to be in my ice bath when I wake up in the morning.
I'm just going to say, you took the words I was going to say. The dog of Barry will be in your ice bath tonight.
There's nothing else left to say except adios, amigos.
Adios.
My old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears gold-blimey trousers and he lives in the council flat. He looks a proper nana in his great big hobnail boots. He's got such a job to pull them up, but he calls them daisy roots. Some folks give tips at Christmas and some of them forget. So when he picks their bins up, he spills some on the step. Now one old man got nasty and to the council wrote, next time my old man went round there, he punched him up the throat. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears gold-blimey trousers and he lives in the council flat. I say, Les.
Yeah?
I found a police dog in my dustbin.
Well, how do you know he's a police dog?
He had a policeman with him. Though my old man's a dustman, he's got an heart of gold. He got married recently, though he's 86 years old. We said, here, hang on, Dad, you're getting past your prime. He said, well, when you get my age, it helps to pass the time. My old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears gold-blimey trousers